members are here. And there are so many members joining online. So to welcome the presidential parade, can you rise up, please? To start the event, let me invite the following dignitaries to light the traditional oil lamp. Engineer Dr. Kamal Laksiri, the acting president of the IESL, two senior most past presidents. Of course, we have three senior most past presidents: Engineer Prial de Silva, Engineer Biaro Fernando, Engineer Chula de Silva. The representatives of the family of late Engineer Dr. Engineer DJ Wimalasurendra, Mr. Frank de Silva, and Mr. Sarat Wimalasurendra. And Engineer Kosala Kamuradeni, Electrical, Electronic and Telecommunication Engineering Sectional Committee Chairman, and myself. Kindly remain standing. I wonder whether I have missed our great speaker's name today to light the oil lamp. Our past president, Engineer Shavi Fran. I'm sorry about it. Now I invite our acting president, Engineer Dr. Kamal Laksiri, to garland the statue of Engineer DJ Wimalasurendra. Thank you very much. Kindly be seated. Acting President Dr. Kamal Laksiri, our speaker today, past President Engineer Shavindranath Fernando, and Engineer Kosala Kamradeni, the Sectional Committee Chairman of Electrical, Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering. You are cordially invited to the stage, please. Thank you very much. To give away the welcome speech, now I kindly invite our acting president, Dr. Kamal Laksen.
Ayubowan and good evening to all of you. We had the first memorial act of this year just 3 days ago in the very same place, and today we have gathered again here to join another equally important event, that is to commemorate the late engineer DJ Wimalasurendra Memorial Oration. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka, and as the President-elect and the acting President, it's my pleasure to welcome you all to the Engineer DJ Wimalasurendra Memorial Oration. ISL, the apex body for professional engineers in Sri Lanka, conducts a series of memorial lectures in memory of engineering giants who have rendered a momentous contribution to the engineering field and the development of the country. Today, we have organized this event to commemorate the 148th birth anniversary of engineer DJ Wimalasurendra, the father of hydropower in Sri Lanka. Actually, his birthday falls on tomorrow, 17th September, but tomorrow being a holiday, we have advanced this event to today. This event is organized by the Electrical, Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering Sectional Committee of the ISL. Now let me formally welcome you all, starting from our guest speaker, Engineer Savindranath Fernando, past president of ISL and the former general manager of Ceylon Electricity Board. Sir, you are most welcome. And thank you for accepting our invitation. Family members of the late DG Wimalasurendra who are joining us with us today in this event. Council members, past presidents, the Chairman, Electrical, Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering Sectional Committee, Engineer Kusala Kamuradiniya, Engineer Neil Abesekara, Chief Executive Officer, Deputy Executive Officer, and the ISL staff, ISL members who are joining in person in this hall, and also we have a number of members joining online. Ladies and gentlemen, Engineer Devapura Jayasena Wimalasurendra, born in 1874 in Galle, was educated at Ananda College, Colombo, excelling in science and mathematics. He joined the Technical College in Colombo in 1893 while serving as an apprentice at the government factory and was its first graduate in civil engineering. He completed his engineering studies in 1898 by sitting for the examinations of the Institution of Civil Engineers UK, the exams conducted in India. Engineer Wimalasurendra worked for some time as an assistant civil engineer at the then Public Works Department, PWD, serving at stations like Diathalawa, Galle, and Norwood. The famous Damodara railway track loop, known to all of us, was designed and constructed by him in 1901 while being stationed in Diathalawa. It was during his service at the PWD that he became interested in hydropower development. In 1912, he proceeded to UK to specialize in electrical engineering and gained Faraday House diploma in 7 months, and also gained associate membership of the Institution of Electrical Engineers UK, currently the IET UK. In 1913, he constructed Ceylon's first small hydropower station in Blackpool between Nuwara and Nanoya to supply electricity to the Nuwara town. In 1918, he presented his historic paper titled Economics of Power Utilization in Ceylon before the then Engineering Association of Ceylon, establishing the case for development of hydro potential of the country. In this paper, he proposed the possibility of generation of hydropower from Muskeli Oya and Kelgam Oya. He estimated that the combined hydro potential of Muskeli Oya and Kelgam Oya could produce approximately 115 megawatt of power, electrical power, that is to light 100,000 lamps. So Lakshapana, and now we call the Lakshapana, the term Lakshapana birth from there. He also strongly promoted the electrification of the railways as well as the concept of developing a national grid. He became a chartered engineer of both the Institution of Civil Engineers UK and the Institution of Electrical Engineers UK, a somewhat rare achievement at that time. As a result of the initiatives he made with his proposal, Lakshapan hydroelectric scheme was accepted by the government in principle for implementation. In 1924, ushering in a new era of power generation in this country. However, he was kept out of the project implementation, and that led him to decide to leave the country, and he left the country on leave to England. Later, he returned only at the request of then Colonial Secretary. In 1926, he was appointed as the Chief Engineer of Public Works Department. With the setting up of the Department of Government Electrical Undertakings, Engineer Wimalasurendra was appointed to the position of Chief Engineer. However, he retired as a frustrated man at the age of 55 in 1929 with his pet project in abeyance. With his great determination to develop the hydropower potential of the country, Engineer Wimalasurendra decided to enter the National State Council and was elected from Ratnapura in 1931 as a member for the Ratnapura seat and continued to serve for 4.5 years. During this period, he also served in the Executive Committee of Works and Communication under the then State Council. During the period from 1931 to 1936, as a member of the State Council, he continued to advocate strongly the need for rapid industrialization of the country using cheap source of power, that is hydroelectricity. He lobbied for the resumption of works on the planned hydropower development that was uncompleted. As a result, the Lakshapan hydropower scheme, which had started in 1924 and had been stopped halfway, was resumed in 1938. Finally, with the completion of the project in 1950, after the Second World War, Engineer Wimalasurendra could witness his dream come true at the age of 75 years. Father of hydroelectricity in Sri Lanka, Engineer Wimalasurendra passed away on August 10, 1953. The Norton Powerhouse was named after him in 1974 as the Wimalasurendra Power Station, which we are all familiar with. Professor C. Sundaralingam, his colleague in the State Council, paid the best tribute to him when he said, Wimalasurendra is not dead, he is a living light. With that brief introductory note, let me conclude, and I extend a warm welcome to all of you again for this memorial oration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Acting President, Dr. Laksari. The next event is introduction of our speaker today. Hope everyone knows him. So, anyhow, let me take some time to brief his profile. Engineer Shamindranath Fernando, former General Manager, Ceylon Electricity Board, and former Chairman, National Engineering Research and Development Center, holds an honors degree of Bachelor of Science in Engineering from the University of Sri Lanka, Katubedda campus in 1978, and Master of Engineering degree from the Asian Institution of Technology, Bangkok, He also holds a postgraduate diploma in commercial arbitration. He's a chartered engineer, a fellow of the Institution of Engineers, Sri Lanka. He joined Ceylon Electricity Board in year 1979 and held various positions, namely station manager, deputy general manager, additional general manager, and finally he became the general manager in year 2013 and held the said post until his retirement in year 2015. Engineer Fernando was the president of the Institution of Engineers, Sri Lanka during the session 2013-2014. He was a founder member of Sri Lanka Energy Managers Association and also the president for 2 years in 1996 and 1997. He was the secretary of the Sri Lanka member committee of the World Engineering Energy Council. He served as a member of the Energy Conservation Fund in year 2002. He was a member of the General Assembly, the highest policymaking body of the Church of Ceylon, 2012 to 2015 and 2018 to 2021. He's also a member of the board of directors of Sri Lanka Sustainable Energy Authority. He was associated with many studies and research related to engineering planning, energy management, and energy and climate change issues. He has several publications to his credit. He is a distinguished alumni award recipient of the Asian Institute of Technology Alumni Association in year 2004 for services in public sector. He was inducted to the Hall of Fame of Asian Institute of Technology at the 60th anniversary of the Asian Institute, Thailand in year 2019. Having said that, Mr. Fernando's topic today is Upper Kotmale 10 years on environment and development in harmony for economic prosperity of the nation. Over to you, sir.
That was the theme song of Upper Kotmale Hydropower project. Permit me to take you along with me on that journey in the next 40 minutes or so. 10 years on, they still play that song twice a day at 12 o'clock and 3 p.m. Wala kulin besa, saman kulak wenda, elo bala yanawa. Ane magin weda ganiu ganiu, handa handa ohe yanawa. Meaningful words of Arisan Nahubudu, enlivened by the balmy voice of late Sunil Shanta. Deve deve bim, didi radas dum, belu belu hamate. Yavau ma ihe mehe ha, giman niwa puleve. Eda rate me dano tanin tana, dano tatin ma, tanin tani randava. Magen wedak gen matat wedak kota, doe namak tebua. Wedak nokat di handa dudame, mue balayanawa. Happy Sindhi Sindhu, tere vedi, Karadian elo yanawa. What appropriate words. Acting President, Dr. Kamal Laksiri, members of the family of DJ Wimalasurendra, past presidents, council members, fellow members, invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I'm deeply honored for the invitation extended to me to deliver the DJ Wimalasurendra Memorial Oration 2022. This year, Upper Kotmale will celebrate its 10th anniversary. Is there any better way for me to take you on this journey? A journey of sacrifice, hardship, personal abuse, threats, attempts to harm us, disappointments, heartbreaks. Overcoming all these, being able to celebrate the 10th anniversary of completion, which many thought would never be a reality, is truly a near impossibility made possible. I offer this as a tribute to the father of hydropower in our country, engineer Devapura Jayasena Wimalasurendra. White gold. On a journey to prospect for gold, found instead the Aberdeen Falls. His journey to harness white gold commenced, but was not to his liking, as he expected. We have all heard of his own journey of sacrifice, hardship, personal abuse, threats, disappointments, heartbreaks. Undeterred, he moved on in spite of the British rulers who never were in favor of. They are supposed to have ridiculed him, calling his plans journeys into realms of fantasy. We all know this white gold he found was to be the driver behind the economic prosperity of our nation in the post-independence era. Until 1995, our entire electricity generation was based on hydropower, thanks to late engineer Wimalasurendra. I shouldn't call him late. He is a living legend. Looking back, I wonder if his blessing or Balmer was there for us to move on. Engineer Wimalasurendra from his sick bed, traveled to see for himself the power station he declared. Although it was not my good fortune to execute the scheme I had originated, I'm happy that I have lived to see it brought to fruition by my countrymen, and that I should have in the evening of my life been able to see the light, the dawn of which I beheld 50 years ago. His wait of 50 years. I was, however, fortunate to be associated with Upper Kotmale, which I love to call my project. For good 2 decades, from 1992, it was completed in 2012. Let us begin that journey. Where it all began. I'm not going to read the entire history. This project was identified during the Mahali Master Plan in 1960s, late 1960s. Then a feasibility was done with the Japanese assistance. Japanese were prepared to fund this project in 1995. The loan negotiations were completed, and the Ministry of Power and Energy had already granted approval for the project. Unfortunately, at the 11th hour, the Central Environmental Authority refused to concur with the approval granted by the project approving agency on environmental grounds. After 3 years, after several studies, more investigations, more consultations, more submissions, litigation, compounded. After all that, through large number of consultations, finally, the Secretary Ministry of Forestry and Environment gave the final clearance to implement the project. And he said very specifically, subject to the strict adoption of proposed mitigation measures and development and implementation of watershed management plan, among other recommendations. The loan agreement between Government of Japan and Sri Lanka was signed in the year 2000. Secretary Minister of Forestry and Environment, as I said before, he made this very significant declaration. I trust the CEB will act in a responsible manner to undertake this project as an example to prove how environment and development can be integrated. What a foresight, what a forethought. So hence our tagline throughout the project: environment and development in harmony for economic prosperity of the nation. Before the loan was granted, the Japanese government had to face many obstacles. They had to give many assurances and take several measures because The OECD, they objected. 3 members objected. The problem is, if any one member objects, the project can be withdrawn. The funds can be withheld. I use the word good office. The Japanese government use its good office, very compulsive good office, to allay the claims, furnishing an extensive economic justification for the project. World Bank questioned the funding, saying it will impede the power sector's reform process. A special component from the loan funding was allocated for hydrogenco establishment. Project commenced. All hell broke loose. Most of you may remember. Locally, environmentalists, politicians, religious leaders, NGOs, you name it, all of them jumped on the bandwagon to protest. Internationally, at various fora, this project was highlighted as an environmental disaster. People went overseas with t-shirts saying death to St. Clair's waterfall. They lobbied to stop the project even from other places. There's so much of international pressure to stop the project. In the Japanese parliament, several times this was queried. They even told, pardon me for saying this, I don't know if it's true or false. They said, God Shiva's forehead carries the divine fall. In the Japanese parliament, there was a special study undertaken by a professor who proved that it was not true. Protests, you can see some very prominent people. Not only they, the right-hand figure shows Venerable Mahanayaka of Untitled Chapter himself. Went to Talwakale on a protest campaign. I don't know what you may call it. On that particular day, in Sinhala we call it Morasurana. Nobody could hear what he was saying. Nobody could attend the protest. The gods showered their blessings in plenty, in abundance. Nobody could achieve their ends. Why did we do it? How did we do it? My guiding light was a quotation from the Bible. If you know what is right to do and not doing is a sin. I knew doing Upper Kotmale project was the right thing to do. And I did not want to be a sinner. There were many decisions by the government to do it and not to do it. Every time when the decision was made to do it, not to do it, I had about 10, 15 engineers and about 20 other staff. They all used to come to my office and ask, Apita Mukada Venne. I kept on saying, don't worry, we will do it. We will do it. The last decision was to rescind the previous decisions to do it by the cabinet. But of course, there was a loophole. We made use of the loophole. And there was an escape clause, and we did it. I kept my team together with a firm conviction that we are going to do it. It was not easy. Some people left. We stayed focused and were not swayed by those noises around. So we did it notwithstanding any obstacle, any impediment. No one believed that we'll ever do it. It's so much of opposition by very strong political parties in the hill country. Some even wished we failed. There were personal threats to us. Project commenced. I'm not going to go into details. The milestones are written there. In fact, the environmental regulations were gazetted. So we had no other option. And we didn't want to even not to follow them. We're very happy it was published so that we'll be compelled to follow them. Even if nobody wanted. So these are project features. Once again, I'm not going to go into details. You can always refer them up. It will be on the website. What is significant is I would like to draw your attention to the last line, 409 gigawatt hours. Keep that in mind. 409 gigawatt hours, keep that in mind. This was done with 40 years of hydrological data, meticulously studied by the Japanese consultants. I must say, you all get to Japanese consultant who did the study. I'm going to prove a point later on. So these are the partners in our progress. And once again, these are the funding mechanism. Look at the interest rates. 0.01% per annum. Next to zero. Those were the small figures, 0.75 and 0.01 were for services. 0.95% to 0.2 were for equipment and material. Next to nothing. 40 years repayment, 10 years grace. Where can you get this kind of financing? You're about to kick them off. You already kicked them off before. That was during the Norton Powerhouse. Because the same terms, at the 11th hour, they were kicked out. And the dates of signing of the loans are given there. Some pictures for those who have never been to any hydropower project site construction. Messy, but fulfilling. Construction of the headrest tunnel. At the time of commission, this was the longest tunnel, 13 kilometers. From 4 inches, we started excavating. You can see the entrance to the power cavern there. The water line bifurcating for the two plants. Construction of the power station, the installation of the generator and the turbine. History of the gates and the penstock. They are massive structures. The inclined penstock was all inside the tunnel. They are very dangerous to work there. Construction of transmission line. I must also make a mention. The original length was 18 kilometers. The transmission from the Upper Kotmale to Kotmale. Our engineers walked on the trace and found a shorter route, and finally we end up with about 16 kilometers. The first synchronization, it was a real nostalgic day, April 2012. Dream come true. Then it was handed over to the people, as people may call it, inauguration of the power station, July 2012. So 10 years ago. This is what I wanted to emphasize. In 2020, I think I was invited to give a presentation to the Japanese ambassador. And these figures of the generation was the first two columns are there. And I made mention that we were planning to generate 409 gigawatt hours a year. He casually asked me, so how much have you generated per year? I didn't know. And I asked someone to calculate. On the dot, on that day, it was 410 versus 409. And the Japanese ambassador, I could see, he could not believe his ears. I could not believe it myself. Engineering can never be defeated. Meticulous engineering pays it off. Cost and benefits. People talk very badly of projects. All total cost transfer to CEB, the liability was 55 billion rupees. That was in our books. If we take every year generation and the average selling price of electricity in that particular year, we have already earned the CEB 72 billion rupees in less than 10 years. So yes, in 10 years we have earned that. So the project cost has been paid in full, in rupee terms, of course. As I said before, we are paying in such small amounts back to the the government. come to Japan. I would like to, 10 years on, in March 2021, the then Minister of Power Energy visited the site, and he had this to write on the visitor's book. Let me read that. Balagare sa parishya nirikshane kalemi. Boho ayatana walata paramadarshi lesa මෙය පවත්වාගෙන යාම සතුටකි, ධෛර්යයකි, දිරිගැන්වීමකි, ජාතික අවශ්‍යතාවයක් විශිෂ්ට ලෙස, not my words, ඉටු කරමින් මෙලෙස පරමාදර්ශී ලෙස කටයුතු කිරීම රජයේ ගෞරවයට පාත්‍ර විය යුතු වේ. ඔබ සැමට සුබ පතමි. ඩලස් අලහප්පෙරුම ජුබල අමාත්‍යතුමා 17/3/2021. Environment and development in harmony for economic prosperity of the nation, our tagline. In keeping with our commitments, the following environmental mitigation measures and social upliftment projects were implemented. Release of water to keep the St. Claus waterfall active during daytime. Resettlement action plan developed and implemented in keeping with the National Involuntary Resettlement Policy. Watershed management program. Income enhancement program for project affected persons. To empower youth, women to gain benefits from the project activities. Providing safeguards to vulnerable groups. Weekly environmental and safety patrols. Monthly housing committees and quarterly resettlement committees. Land acquisition and resettlement committee to look after any anomalies in the compensation. Grievance redress mechanism. Constant risk analysis and risk mitigation. Sensu Hakoshima Education Trust Fund. It was a donation from the former project manager of the consultants. He donated 1 million rupees, and we used to give a large number of scholarships to the project affected people's sons and daughters. Some of them entered the university. Watershed management plan. Conservation oriented agriculture. Increase in tree cover. Approximately 1.2 million trees were replanted. And the catchment and the river banks. Gully conservation, protection of landslide prone areas, fire protection, fire belts were established, conservation of roads and road drains and road sites, disposal of garbage, establishment of scientifically designed landfill, and a garbage collection truck, compact and gully sucker. Mapping of existing land use to look after the vulnerable land areas. And that's where we planted the trees. Training and awareness. Before I leave, I must tell you a story about the pond. One of the cabinet papers contained a report from a very prestigious institution in Sri Lanka that deals with landslides. It said the extent of the pond was only 25 hectares. If you allow this pond to be built in Talawakale, there will be, I can accept landslides. There will be earth slips, I could have accepted earth slips. Earthquakes. This report was sent to us to do a study and give a reply to the cabinet. We did a survey study. Only there had been some connection with huge reservoirs in the whole world of about 8 cases. This small pond, they were trying to drive scare into the people. Earthquakes. These are how professionals do unprofessional things on the behest of the ministers. So this, of course, it doesn't look like this, right? Don't get fooled by this picture. Of course, there's a smaller flow that is coming up, but we do release water to keep the St. Clair waterfall alive. This has been taken on a rainy day. I'm sorry for this picture. So these are St. Clair's viewing gallery. I must pay tribute to late Arjun Darnigala, our chairman. While going with me, he said, We stopped at this place and said, Shavi, why don't we build a St. Clair's viewing gallery? If you pass that way, please do visit. It's a beautiful place. And of course, you can see the waterfall there. That's how it looks like on a normal day. Not bad. That's a nice story. We want to decide how much of water will be released for the waterfall to be okay, looking all right. There are a series of pictures, put it on an exhibition screen. Of course, those days there were huge sheets of paper with enlarged photographs. And every time people stopped, this was all before the project, right? Or when the people stopped to see the waterfall, we used to take a question, and there was a lot of, for 3 months we did that survey. Do you like this waterfall? Okay. Do you like this waterfall? Okay. So at certain point, people said, no, make a hurry. We didn't even tell them what we were doing. Is it okay this side? No. Then we decided on that particular day, what was the flow of on the stream. And that flow we release in the daytime. All done very scientifically. We did not just talk from the hat and say, okay, let it be like this. Just study and establish the flow. I think this may be one of the first in the country. Ravana Politicium. Of course, you will see a small video. You see the whole story. I had a zoological graduate who was my resettlement officer. He's also a boy from the same area. He was always coming for dinner to his brother's house, and while going in his torch, he saw this snail. This snail. What a snail. Who is a snail for us? We have seen in them plenty. He was interested. He consulted his lecturers. Then he found that this particular snail had been last recorded at that time 150 odd years ago and thought to have been extinct. It's supposed to be what they call point endemic species. I was told that this snail doesn't travel any more than 1 square meter entire lifespan. And they found only this place. If we built the reservoir without taking any care of these people, these snails, they got extinct. What did we do? We did what we call an ex situ conservation. We crawled under the reeds. The funny thing is, why nobody noticed is, these snails come out only after about 10 p.m. and they get back to their nest by 2 a.m. So you have to go there, crawl under the reeds with all muck around, and collect them and resettle them in 6 other places. And we did not abandon them. We kept on monitoring for 6 months, and we found the juveniles in the places where they were re-established. So there are places that about 75% survived, 50% survived, 20% survived. We were happy that we re-established this snail colony in other similar places. So this is the Ravana Politicium. There's another interesting story. When I told that to an audience, there was a Buddhist priest from the Ravanagoda temple. He was very angry for me telling about Ravana Politicium. So finally, our minister was Partly Chapter, he got up and said, this is only the biological name. It has got nothing to do with your temple. Resettlement Action Plan, restoration of infrastructure. We had developed a policy with taking into account all the international guidelines. This is how the water was flowing on the Kotmale. You see those green patches where the people were living. And when we did the simulation, we found these areas will go underwater. So we had to resettle them. And those people are moved into nearby areas that you see on the yellow patches to high ground. We built about 520, early it was 495. We finally built 520 households in 10 different community clusters. More than 50 commercial establishments, 3 workshops and several garages, 12 common amenities, urban council built the Tamil school, the rest house, churches, Hindu kovis, etc. And vegetable plots and cattle sheds. The policy we adopted in consultation with the people to relocate, to locate the entitled houses in a minimum of 7 per land. All resettlements will take place within the town limits of Talawakale. Each individual sub-community is offered the opportunity to resettle together in a clearly defined area, avoiding community fragmentation. So these communities are very closely knit and maintain the ethnic balance and existing social network. All households were provided with housing and services that are much better. So these are some of the pictures of those consultation meetings that we had. Most of them were held in their own places, their own houses, line rooms, their own gardens. And the resettlement committee was held in a common place. But jointly, the two gentlemen there, one is the chairman of the urban council, the other one is the division secretary. So they were co-chairing the resettlement committee. If any problem, they used to take a decision. Grievance redress mechanism. So that was established, and there be always grievances. We settled them amicably, and there were religious leaders and civic leaders in those grievance redress committees, Grama Sevakas. So they knew exactly what those problems are. So these are the houses, model houses, the entitlements. So these are the houses that were built, and these are the houses where they were living. Should I say anything more? Did they not like it? The irony is, the same people are used to protest against the project. These are the houses they were living, and these are the houses they got. So several pictures. Some of those coils are just built out of planks. And some of them, of course, masonry. These are the coils we built. Churches, 3 of them. Community centers, childcare centers, you name it, we had to build all of them. We did that with a lot of enthusiasm and happiness. The urban council building, you see the small video clip, you see the plight of the urban council building before it was resettled on the left-hand side of the picture. Below you see the beautiful new urban council building. At that time, when we did the planning, it was the minister was Karu Jayasuriya, and he wanted the building to be built to have some semblance of the Colombo Municipality Council. Hence those huge pillars. And maybe the best urban council building in the whole of, except the rural one, the municipality, in the whole of Noongar district. The rest house that barely had about 12 shabby rooms were given a beautiful rest house. Tamil school, there's a story about Tamil school. The minister did not want us to remove the Tamil school. They wanted that Tamil school to be kept like that. I had to promise that after the Tamil school is built, that you see on the right-hand side, 5 beautiful buildings. These are that rickety old building. I had to build the same replica on the other side of the road. You can see it when you go on that road. Just like a tea factory. He wanted it done. Old bridge on the left-hand side, new bridge on the right-hand side. That's the bridge across the Kotmale on B412 road. B412 road is 33 kilometers long. Before the project was done, it took about 1.5 hours for us to go from one end to the other. Now we can do it in 45 minutes. And on the Kotmale, this bridge also has a story. It was only a pedestrian bridge on another place crossing the Kotmale area. We proposed this bridge, motorable bridge. Who objected? Vendors in the town. Why? They said they'll lose business. What for? I don't know. They thought they'll shunt, the people will shunt the town. It never happened. The town is flourishing very well now. So these are the poisons that were put to the minds of the people. You see this very dangerous suspension bridge on which many people walk daily. to cross the bridge, cross the river at Maliapur. We built this beautiful steel structure. An Australian engineer, Sri Lankan, had taken pictures. I heard that, I'm not a civil engineer, criticizing the design of the bridge. I don't know why. I don't know why. I still have no answer. Income enhancement program aimed at redressing temporary and long-term loss of income opportunities, if any. Disturbance due to resettlement, loss of traditional markets and clients. We arranged micro financing with the People's Bank at Talwakale, and the repayment rates were very good. About 25 project affected families, many from this micro scheme, they were concessionary loans. Objectives of the skills development program. This also has a story. We wanted to train a lot of youth in the area before the project began. Once again, the trade union came up in arms. They prevented the estate youth from taking part in these training programs. The argument given, you are changing their culture. They are used to working in the tea factories. They should not be taught any other skills. Who is serving whom? Who is serving whom? We trained people from electric welding, electric wiring, plumbing, dressmaking, heavy equipment maintenance, mushroom culture, and so forth. After the project was completed, I got a call from Rwanda. Mahendra. Sir, I'm in Rwanda. I said, what? He has got a placement. I think it was East's company, was doing some work in Rwanda. So we were selected and sent to Rwanda. One of our trainings. These were the programs. We brought them to Sitrak Patramulla and gave them heavy machinery training as well. They are way before the project started. Way before the project started. Why women? We knew that if we did not train the women, they will make a big noise. So we even trained women on computer as well as dressmaking and mushroom cultivation, so on and so forth, that they can engage in. House home gardening, you can see the pictures. Health camps. While the project was going on, we had health camps. And we provided those gully houses, and we had specially designed compartmentalized garbage collecting trucks and even a compactor. I don't know what has happened to them. Do I say anything more? Those two women there, they cannot stand up. They are seamstresses, both of them. We gave them loans, not loans, cash grants to earn a living. And that child that are being carried, there are 5 of them, all 5 of them suffering from thalassemia. So we give them some sort of assistance to make a living and raise the family. We're very happy doing all these things. Modernized town from a sleepy old town. The bus stand was built anew. And then, of course, we did not build the shops, but the shops became alive with the project. You can see on left-hand side, the old Talwakale town. You can see even if I go there now, I can't recognize Talwakale. It's so well developed. At that time, by 7 o'clock, you go there, everybody is sleeping. Nobody on the road. This is a nice story. This old string workshop was a squatter in a small shed that belonged to Hemachandra company. And he was asked to go. Fortunately, the project was there on the time. On the right-hand side, you can see the big workshop. I went there about two months ago. I could not believe my eyes. Such a flourishing workshop. I don't think you can find that kind of workshop anywhere around. so well run. You can see inside. Very nice story. A resetless house converted to a holiday home. The entire place, a lot of holiday homes now. With the reservoir frontage, there are many holiday homes that have come up. The greatest honor. Government of Japan honored the project by minting a 1,000 rupee coin in their mint at Kobe. I was fortunate enough to see the mint, but I could not get in. That was a public holiday. And they minted this coin in honor of Sri Lanka for their 60 years diplomatic relationship. I was told that there are only 2 countries that they have minted a coin. First was New Zealand, second was Sri Lanka. And what better way of talking about Upper Kotmale? They used Upper Kotmale picture that you see on that slide as it's on the flip side of the coin. Let us take a moment and watch this small video. Before I finish, there was a few notes that I took of significance that we did something new in Upper Kotmale. We have about 8 rain gauging stations, about 3 stream flow measurement stations, because we were told that if you do this project, you will inundate Salawakale, for the backwater. We're very careful to take into cognizance that particular concern. So we installed what we call a flood forecasting model that can forecast the flood 2 hours ahead of it reaching the dam. And there were warning stations all over the place. And these, I think, one of the first in one of the hydropower stations. One of the other significant thing is land acquisition. Everybody is scared. So we had adopted a system. We get a government valuation, offer it to the person. After a lark process, which you come to a compromise on the price. If they are willing to buy, if they are willing to sell, we used to buy the land instead of acquiring. The one person was very stubborn. Just a 40 perch land, he refused to give the land. I told him, please take it. Was about 1.2 million at that time. Please take this money, or you'll never get the compensation in time if you go for acquisition. He challenged us. We invoked special provisions in the Electricity Act and acquired it within 80 days. Maybe a record. And to date, I was told that he has not yet got the compensation. Then lot 4, I'm very proud to say, with only one Japanese consultant, all CB engineers, I think lot 4 manager is here, he'll bear witness to this. 7 of our engineers perused all the design drawings, checked them, approved them, supervised the installation, and supervised the commissioning. All done by CB engineers in the entire lot 4. I'm very proud about that. Then there are a few other achievements. When you saw 2 loans. One loan was finishing off and we had to quickly negotiate for another loan. And I think it was 2010, March, we had to sign the loan agreement. And there was a condition from the Japanese government, unless you finish the first loan, the second loan cannot be given. And if you don't sign the second loan on 28th of March 2010, that money will go back. This was somewhere in January. We have about 1.6 billion yen to be dispersed. I called my engineers and asked, what are we to do? They told me, Mukut karanna bad, sir. We cannot spend this money. I had to take a call. Sorry, I had to take a call. Am I to lose this money or do something? I called the project managers and I said, there are 5 project managers and the consultancy contract. I asked them to get the disbursements that is likely to come in the next 3 months, the more than 1.6 billion. I got them to give an unconditional bank guarantee against this money. And we issued all the payment certificates 3 months ahead. Today, if you did that, I would have been charged for misappropriation of funds. Am I to lose that money and not do the project or do something strange? I did something strange. Only few people knew that I've dispersed all the money. But it was all made good during the next 3 months, and I didn't have any problem. Then I think before I conclude, I must also make a very personal request. Before, when I was leaving the council after my second tenure after the presidency, we made a decision to make the foyer here the Wimalasurendra Gallery. Mr. Acting President, it's up to you to make it a reality. There are enough memorabilia of DJ Wimalasurendra. It's named after DJ Wimalasurendra auditorium. Please convert this to a DJ Wimalasurendra Gallery. I heard even the passport is available with someone here. Allow me to let me quote. I'm thankful for all those who said no to me. It's because of them I'm doing it myself. Albert Einstein. I'm thankful to all those who said no to me. It's because of them I did it myself. Allow me to pay a special tribute to my entire staff of Upper Kotmale Hydropower project. Some of them are here, and others are joining on Zoom. It was their effort, their sacrifices, and their commitment, and for the enormous faith they had in me that made it possible for us to journey through thick and thin. Thank you all, my friends. I thank the chairman of the Elected and Sectional Committee for inviting me to do this, the acting president for allowing us to do this, and the CEO for a well-run program, and all the entire ISS staff. And so I wanted special effects, and they made it possible. I also thank the present chief engineer of the plant and his staff for helping me to put this presentation together today. I thank you all for very patient listening to me. May all glory be to God Almighty, in whom I trust, for being with me and guiding me in every step of the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Past President Shavindranath Fernando, for your great contribution. We are proud of you as engineers. The next agenda item is a presentation of the token of appreciation. I invite our acting president, Dr. Kamal Laksiri, to give away the token of appreciation to our guest speaker today, Shavindranath Fernando. Thank you very much. To conclude the session, now I invite Engineer Kosala Kamburadeniya, Chairman of Electrical, Electronic and Telecommunication Engineers Sectional Committee, to give away the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Neil. Good evening. Engineer Dr. Kamal Laksiri, Acting President and the President-elect of the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka. Guest speaker, Past President Engineer Shavindranath Fernando. Past Presidents, Vice Presidents and Council members and members of the IESL. Family members of the late Engineer DJ Wimalasurendra. Engineer Neil Abesekara, Chief Executive Officer and Deputy Executive Secretary, ISL, members of the Electrical, Electronics, Telecommunications Sectional Committee, and ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, on behalf of the Institution of Engineers, Sri Lanka, I would like to thank past President and former General Manager of the Ceylon Electricity Board, Engineer Shavindranath Fernando, for accepting our invitation in spite of your busy schedules and also selecting an interesting and relevant topic for today's memorial oration, which is one of the most important events in IESL calendar, sir. Moreover, sir, we are indeed thankful to you for enlightening us and sharing your experience with us as the project director of Upper Kotmale project on completion of its 10th year. Also, we really appreciate and are also grateful to the family members of late engineer DJ Wimalasurendra for being with us on this Memorial Day. Also, on behalf of the Electrical, Electronics, Telecommunications Sectional Committee, I would like to thank Acting President, Engineer Dr. Kamal Laksiri, CEO Engineer Neil Abesekara, and Secretariat for the support extended to make this event a success. A special thanks should go to my colleagues in the sectional committee for their contribution to organize this event. Last but not least, let me thank the past president, vice president, council members, invitees, and every one of you for taking your time to be with us to participate in this year's DJ Wimalasurendra Memorial Oration, either physically or online. Thank you again and wish you a pleasant evening. I would like to invite all of you who are physically present here to join with us for the fellowship and dinner at Members Lounge. Thank you.